Hey, everybody, Trevor Nelson's checking in real quick before the episode. We had such a great conversation, such an engaging and lovely conversation with a very lovely individual, Celeste Mergens. She is the founder, and I call her the global ambassador for Days for Girls International. They've helped over 3 million girls worldwide. We're going to get into what they do as an organization, what they're intending on doing moving forward as well, which just means helping more people. Such a beautiful story, just the origin story of Days for Girls International and how Celeste, fought through adversity. She really doesn't spend much time on folks telling her no. And so I just love that part of this episode. She also just recently wrote The Power of Days. She's already a best-selling author on Amazon. You can find The Power of Days on Amazon, which is her new book that she just released a few weeks ago. And so we had the great pleasure to speak with her, and I think you're going to get a lot of value out of this episode. So please do us a favor, sit back and enjoy it. What was your career before starting a nonprofit? Because it's always fascinating hearing these stories and how these organizations come to fruition and things.
I started out studying electrical engineering.
Oh, wow.
Went
Okay.
on to had a
Awesome.
catastrophe happen in my life, and we can say that. I mean, it fully qualifies as a catastrophe,
Yeah.
and had to drop out of my engineering program
Okay.
and went on to be a mother, and honestly thought that was it for me, that I'd
Yeah.
chosen that we're good to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then started a nonprofit writing organization, the Whidbey Island Writers Conference. And
Writing.
then
Yes.
yeah, like with a
Yeah. I
pen
was going to say,
and,
not equestrian, not equestrian.
you never know. I look equestrian today. And and then I ended up having the gift of Days for Girls coming into my life. So
Yeah.
honestly, decades of nonprofit development. And to me, I also have had personal businesses. My husband and I have ran several successful businesses.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
they're very similar. We're
Uh-huh.
just talking and making sure that you have quality programs and
Yes.
systems,
Yes.
but fundraising, that's about communication
Isn't that
in my
different?
mind. Mhm.
Relationships and communication. Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. So you immediately started fundraising, or was it privately funded by one of the companies? And the reason why I ask all these questions, Celeste, is because when you start a nonprofit like yours that has a global reach and has helped
Yeah.
literally millions of women, right?
Yeah.
I'm not labeling you as this, but you have to be a business builder slash entrepreneur, all the above. There has to be a layer of this, or someone working with you, or someone's working with you
Mhm.
that have that, tenacity and discipline and consistency. And oh, we're okay with failure too, because that's part of the process and things of that
100%.
nature. Yeah, I mean, speak to that.
Absolutely. I was one of those kids that did the lemonade stands.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was one of those, right?
yeah.
But it's also this meant so much to me from the very beginning
Mhm.
that I was willing to talk to anybody at any time about something that nobody wants to talk about.
Yeah,
So I was willing to take the punches of, "Oh, get away," because I recognize this is something we could change and
absolutely.
need to change.
Yeah,
And honestly, for me, it's also been about recognizing that when you're communicating for fundraising, it's really about what they need, not what you want to accomplish,
mhm.
but about what they are accomplishing or can accomplish with you.
Yes,
Because with their dollars, they're just looking to vote for where to apply their resources,
that
just like you
change.
decide your time
Yeah,
and your energy. This is one of the resources they can direct. So
right.
all you're looking for are those that agree that this is something worth shifting. So,
Yeah,
in fact, I wear a shift key, like typewriter shift key. And
I
it's
love it.
because what you're doing is inviting others to see if this is something they want to help with. So, your communication has to be not about, oh, we're so great.
Yes,
Even when you win an award, it's
yes,
about them,
yes,
right?
yes.
And
You're
that's what.
deflecting that praise.
Mhm.
Celeste, I was in typical fashion, because I'm not a great listener, I was waiting to say, we talk to nonprofits all the time about shifting the mindset to invitation and not asking, and you just said it. And it's so seldom that someone in your position will have that kind of worldview or 30,000-foot view of what they're doing, that you just realize
Mhm.
you basically, you reverse engineered the whole thing, you deconstructed it, and you create inviting people to participate. You're inviting, organizations, corporations, individuals with resources and wealth. You're inviting them, and it's so seldom that is used. And I think it's paramount. I think it's huge.
It's the key.
Yeah,
It
there you
really
go.
is key.
Yeah, it's
And then
so
you
good.
don't remember earlier you said fail forward. I love that you pointed that out
Thank you.
because then you don't feel like a no is a failure. It's just getting to the next yes.
Well,
You
it's part of life.
recognize, oh, this isn't a match for you.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah,
Lean in where it is.
yeah,
Happy that we're both
yeah.
hoping to change the world. Next.
Well, you're a mother of 6 and a grandparent of was it 15? Is that what I know? Is that right? So
18 now. Yeah.
oh, okay, great. So our team member sent me that. And I was like, oh wow, that's amazing. And so my wife's a fifth grade teacher. We have little ones. Well, one big one, one little one. And I think that it's seldom understood that life can be a game of failure. And I don't mean that because I'm the most optimistic person I know. It's just the truth. And we try to insulate our children from failure and loss and tears and scratches. It's such an alarming rate now, and so I'm going to try to bleed that into into fundraising. It's a game of failure. I mean, you're going to get the door slammed in your face 9 out of 10 times sometimes, and it's not you, it's not the mission, it's just not a fit right now, like you say. And I think that when you've
Absolutely.
accomplished so much like you have with the organization and the effect that you've had, like I've mentioned globally, you've heard a lot of no. I
Yes.
mean, that's just a
Oh,
reality,
yes.
right? Yeah, yeah. Tell
A
us about
lot.
that a little. Yeah, tell us about that and how that impression has changed maybe for you and how you deal with it and how maybe that pressure and having, you still have to make payroll when you're a nonprofit and all that stuff and how that could be a privilege and all these things that we could talk about. But like speak about what that
Yeah,
means to you.
absolutely.
Yeah.
For me, recognizing I had people literally schedule me to talk, and then here we're going to talk about menstrual equity and the change we can be in the world, and unschedule. No, I
Yeah.
just heard what you talk about. I'm
Yeah.
not going to. And I would use that frustration of, see, this is why we need to shift this in the world. This
Yeah,
is why
you
we need to recognize
Yep.
is basic. And then I would use that, and I would go back to my pencil on the scratch pad and say, okay, how do we help people face this demon that's untouchable when it's
Yeah.
just basic to our biology? And
Right.
it ended up that I'd scribble 10 things we could do, and they were ridiculous, like a rock band writes a song about periods with us.
Yeah, yeah,
and,
yeah.
and then down to, that's how we ended up getting 2 Guinness World Records, because it's like, let's break a Guinness World Record. Let's
Awesome.
get people talking. So instead of going, ah, that's it for me, I would go, okay, then let's get creative. I'm curious how we can get people to recognize the importance. And other times, what I've noticed is it is personal. So
Yeah.
this is a different kind of balance. One,
I want to
you
hear it.
need to make personal invitations. When we won the Operation Girl, Nike Girl Effect, and Revlon Challenge crowd rising, those weren't emails that went out. Those were personal invitations. Please, this is why. Please tell 10 friends. Those were personal invites. That's
So
what
smart.
works.
So
So if
smart.
you add up personal and then make it's not about you, this, and it matters so much because it is a nonprofit, it
Mm.
can feel a little overwhelming.
Mhm.
Here's the way I see it.
Yeah.
You really are just looking for the few, the proud, and those ready to step up and make
Totally.
this unusual change. And you acknowledge, hey,
Yeah.
you're a miracle. You're
Yeah.
willing to take on something no one wants to talk about.
Yeah.
That makes you the elite.
Yeah.
And I'm only looking for the elite.
Yeah.
And I want you to do the things that you care about.
Yeah.
Is this something you care about? No. Oh, I'm just so glad we got to meet.
Yeah.
If you know anyone, send them my way. Be well.
Oh,
Next, I
yeah.
mean, honestly, because you acknowledge the hardship of what you're doing and you make it the reason
You
they're the
keep doing.
best. And you
Yeah.
don't make it about, we are award winning, we are so amazing, look what we do, but instead make it, look at the impact you're making, look at
Yep.
them and what we, the power of we, makes possible.
Mhm.
You're doing the impossible because we're coming together. And
Yeah.
that's what I truly believe, and so that's what I share,
I love
and
it.
I have fun doing it instead of being devastated by it. And when
Yeah.
things get tight, then you get more creative.
Yeah.
You go after another record.
Totally. No, yeah.
And you
What's
make
next? What's
personal
next?
calls.
Yeah. Good. Speak to that because we coach nonprofits on a daily basis. My partner and I, and our entire team works with nonprofits in some form or fashion, and the podcast being no different. But talk about that invitation, which I just can't believe I've never heard anyone say that other than my partner Jason about inviting people to be a part of it. Amazing, amazing. So that message is huge and will bring a lot of value to folks. I hope that they're listening to that because it sounds simple, but it's so massive. But talk to me about a couple things. One, being able to express your mission's message succinctly, quickly. We call it 10 words or less on initial contact and things of that nature. It's so massive that folks make that personal ask or that personal contact and not a envelope with a stamp on it, and the mass mailer and the email and what have you. It's just that contact is so mass and it's different. I don't think a lot of folks are expecting that, and so that interrupts their loop, so to speak, to where you have their attention now, right? And and that's how
Mhm.
you. And also, by the way, that's how you build a relationship, isn't it? I mean, you don't build a relationship,
Yes,
via email. You pick up the phone, right? And it just sounds like you've
yes.
adopted that. You have some sixth sense about business that is really impactful for nonprofits to hear.
I think it's about blocks.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
if I can share
Embellish.
that.
Embellish, please.
If
Yes.
you're trying to build something that hasn't been built before
Yeah.
and you can see the end goal, I challenge people to go big.
Yeah.
Like, don't say, we would like to reach 3 people.
Yeah.
You can, but build something that's so that if it's in alignment with what you really want to create, that is so audacious that people look at you and blink and go, you can't do that. And
Yeah.
you say, do you want to?
Walk.
And people
Walk
are
up.
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. And two, we were like, every girl everywhere, period. You can't do that. Well, why can't we? It's just corrective and useful solutions. Repeat
Yeah.
partnership,
Yeah.
people repeat.
Yeah.
And the truth is that if you really believe, as I do, that it's not about you, not about me,
Right.
it's about not even exactly about the mission. It's about the power that happens each person, each partner, and they connect together and build and build. And there is no difference in a very real way to me in 100 little blocks being the next floor
Sure.
and one big block being the next
Sure.
floor.
However it
They're
comes.
both equally as moving, right? So when I communicate with someone, I really do want them to know the impact they made.
Mm-hmm.
And I really do feel like, there you are.
Mm-hmm.
We could not have done this without you
Yeah.
because it's true.
So good. Yeah, I think people sometimes maybe there's trepidation about having those conversations in person or just picking up the phone. And I understand that. Having those conversations and regardless of what the mission and the focus is, but asking people for money, it causes people a lot of anxiety. It makes people's palms sweat. They don't get up in the morning and jump, for joy if they're a professional fundraiser and go, "Oh my gosh, I get to ask people for money today. Isn't that fun?" And it's almost like a societal thing, wouldn't you say? And I think you've experienced that with your mission as well. There's like some societal taboo or disconnect that you've had to
Mm-hmm.
overcome, and you
Mm-hmm.
instead of running away from it, you've decided to hit it head on, right?
Yes,
And that's been very
absolutely.
fruitful. Yeah, talk
It
about that, and
has.
and regardless of if someone's raising money for a rare disease or what have you, and how it can impact them.
When we did the Revlon Challenge, a supporter had suggested us for their women's health
Mm-hmm.
fundraiser.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know that they said, no, we don't want that kind of women's health?
Oh God.
And she had to convince them that periods was women's health, not
Yeah.
just blood pressure and breast cancer. And
Totally.
she had to convince them, and we were a top 3 finalists. But it was convincing because we so don't want to talk about this. And
Yeah.
so that's good news
Mm-hmm.
because that's something we can change in our lifetimes. To
Mm-hmm.
me, this is like the suffragettes. We weren't
Yeah.
there for votes, but we can master this one together. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
our generation that gets to take it on and go, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Let's take the TP test. If you can put TP on the conveyor for a grocery store, and then you put down care products, menstrual care products, and you feel differently about either of these things, then who taught you that? And
Yeah.
might you make a new decision, right?
Yeah.
So, like, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
And one of the beautiful things for me in all of this has been that we get to choose how we're going to feel when we're doing these asks and conversations, and invite instead of forcing or feeling worried.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the people that taught me this was Lynn Twist. I don't know if you remember her or know of her.
Maybe.
She did the Pachimama Alliance and one of the founders of the Hunger Project.
Oh,
She
wow.
has a book called The Soul of Money, which is really
Yeah.
highly recommended.
Okay. Okay.
And I once heard her, and here's what she said.
Yeah.
She said that when she was starting the Pachimama Alliance, a friend of hers said, I want to help, but I'm not a philanthropist. I can't help.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, could you make 10% more this next year than you did last year? And he said, yeah, I think I could.
Yeah.
If you made 10% more, could you give it to Pachimama Alliance, a rainforest
Yeah.
saving initiative
Yes.
to support the local indigenous to protect the forest? And he said, yeah, I think I could do that. And he said at the end of the year, he gave a check, his first significant check for $5,000.
Wow.
And she said, thank you so much. Could you do it again?
Yeah.
And the next year, could you double it? And
Yeah.
10,000, he
Yeah.
said, before long, I was writing her a check for $100,000. And her ask of me invited me to keep stepping it up so that I am a millionaire today because
Wow.
this woman gave me a why.
Isn't that fun?
If we think about people as we're looking
Yeah.
to know how we can change the world. There's so many hard things to hear.
Yeah.
And we're looking. And for some of us, that's time.
Mm-hmm.
For some of us, that's speaking up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For some of us, it's all of the above. And for some of us, it's writing a check.
Yeah.
Only we want to make sure what we're writing it for matches what we want to see in the world. So
Mm-hmm.
if you look at it as I'm inviting someone to say, is it this? Is
Yeah.
this the thing you would like to? Because you're invited.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
It's not you doing something untoward. It's actually you giving people the opportunity to live their heart wish.
Mm-hmm.
It truly is.
That's awesome. I love that story, by the way. That
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, look how it nudged and encouraged the gentleman to grow his business to where he became a millionaire. That's the fun part.
True.
That's the fun part. So, Days for Our Girls, you started 15 years ago?
Yes.
15 years ago. And you say it's November 1st is your anniversary?
November 1st. I was in a room in Kenya and first had the girls explain to me
Wow.
that before we came, we had to let them use them so they could go to school,
Wow.
go to class, and take care of their needs. And I just,
Yeah.
the moment that changed the trajectory of my life.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. How long after did you decide to write the book? The Power of Days.
Ooh.
The Power of Days.
Okay, years.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I was running so fast, right? But
Yeah.
their stories kept adding up, and I'd come back for regional conferences and tell supporters, and
Yeah.
this is what happened this time. Do you know what she said? And then I was writing them down.
Yeah.
I was sharing them.
Yeah.
And then it occurred to me that more people needed to hear this and
Yeah.
see this, and it became more and more obvious. This is the New York of development.
Mm-hmm.
If you can create a global movement for menstrual equity, something we don't even want to talk about,
Nope.
we'd rather talk about anything else,
Yep.
then we can do any of the issues we so profoundly care about. And that's what this book, The Power of Days, is about.
Yeah.
It's about the hope we have that we can change the world together.
Yeah.
We really can.
How a couple things. How long did it take you to write the book? And you wanted to share the story. I hear because I know how much like writing has meant to me, and I haven't published a book yet, but I hope to. But how for me, it's been exceptionally cathartic to write down the ideas and the journey and what we've gone through with our company and things like that, and who we've helped, and how it's mimicked my personal life. And there's so much symmetry there. But for me, like I said, I've noticed it's been very cathartic to write those things down and see them on paper and to read them out loud, and all the fear of sharing them with someone. You know, I read a page to a friend recently, and they're like, "Whoa!" And I was like, "Yeah, oh, thank you." I was like, and I was like borderline embarrassed, right, to do it. But tell me about that creative process, because you seem like someone that's unabashed in your approach, and I appreciate that. But tell me about like just that feeling of putting words on paper and without even knowing the effect it was going to have and how it's circulated.
I am with you. There is a certain cathartic feeling. I'm so glad you're writing yours.
Oh,
Count me in as one of your readers for
I
your
appreciate
book as
that.
it comes
All right,
out.
I will.
We'll connect.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
It took me 4 years.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
know there are
Cool.
people that
Yeah.
say 6 weeks.
Yeah.
4
I'm not that
years.
guy. I'm
I
not that
wrote it,
guy. I'm not that
right?
guy. Yeah.
I wrote it 4 different ways. I didn't
Yeah.
wanna put myself in it. I
Yeah.
was like, "Let's just make about the girls, the
It's very
volunteers."
personal. It's very personal. Yeah.
It is. I
Yeah.
have to tell you, the 3 days before it came out,
Oh, wow.
the song "Ground Control to Major Tom"
Yeah.
kept going through my head.
It's kind of a
It was
roller
almost
coaster.
like it had this helmet
Yeah.
on, and I
Yeah.
could just hear myself
Yeah.
stepping out into space, and just this feeling, "Oh my word, what have I done?"
Yeah.
I just spilled me
Yeah.
onto the pages, and I did it with every like, trying to put the emotion
Your soul.
and the senses so they could be there with me, and I'm about to unplug from friends and supporters who have read it to the whole world and say, here's me. How about it?"
Mhm.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
so vulnerable
Yeah.
and felt yes, but
Yeah.
having experienced that, I got to make a choice. There was a moment in the writing, there was a moment in working with a publisher about 3 weeks before it was published, or 3
Mhm.
months. I said, "How about we take me out of it completely?" And they
Mhm.
said, "Sorry, too late. It's already at the publisher
Oh, the book is
and I
you.
printer."
Yeah. You are the book.
It's too
Yeah.
late, girlfriend.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then as the book was coming out, that you realize that just like the nonprofit, this isn't about me. It
Yeah.
never was.
Yeah.
It's
You were a
about,
vessel. You were a vessel, though. Yeah.
right? The
Yeah.
message, and the results have been so beautiful.
Really good.
I'm so grateful for the reviews.
Yeah.
By day 2, it was #1 new release on Amazon. Day 5,
Wow.
#1 new release on Audible
Wow.
and audio. And honestly, I'm just so grateful. People seem to be getting what I hope they would get from it.
Wow.
Hope.
Wow. Yeah, well, it worked. It sounds like it worked. So good. Oh, it's so good. That's awesome. Yeah, how long has the book been out?
It came out 3 weeks ago now, Tuesday the 3rd,
Wow.
and it
I
is
knew it was
last time
recent.
I looked, there are 81 five-star reviews on
Oh my
Amazon,
goodness. Okay.
and
So it's
I'm
super easy to find. Super easy to find The Power of Days on Amazon. Okay, good. Good. Excellent.
or
All right.
anywhere else that you can
Yeah,
find books, you can
yeah.
order it,
That's a
and
real easy one. It'll get to you quick.
you know what people don't warn you about?
What's that?
Promoting the book.
Yeah.
As much work as writing the book.
Okay.
It is as much work,
Yeah.
and in a different way, and asks you to keep showing up.
Yeah, in
That's
a
the
beautiful
deal,
way.
and
Yeah.
nonprofit leaders,
Yeah.
for the most part, we don't love showing up except for the cause.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all about talking in front of 40,000 people, have done it for Days for Girls, but it wasn't about me.
Yeah.
So when you have a book and you're
Yeah.
promoting it,
Yeah.
you got to step up on the stage. And that's another ask of
Yeah.
creating more awareness for the cause.
I love it. I love it. Hats off to you. It's inspiring, and thank you for the kind words. So you gave me 4 years to get it done, so that's fantastic.
Yeah. And you have been warned about the publicity for it.
Oh, well, I don't know if the message will resonate
I'll
like
share
that.
my checklist.
Oh, I would love that. I would love it. Do us a favor. You told us where to find the book. Celeste, where can folks find you? Give us, a social handle. Where can we find the org, the easiest, all that good stuff? Even if it's a simple URL.
Absolutely. CelesteMergens.com has all of those links.
All right, great.
Daysforgirls.org has all about Days for Girls, and
Okay.
both have links to the book.
Okay, awesome. Well, I appreciate your time immensely because I know how busy you are. Congratulations on the book. Congratulations on the work that you're doing for countless women. I am a husband and a father of 2 daughters, and I am a brother, a very, very proud brother. My sister was our first employee at our company, and I was getting ready to speak with you today, and I heard something years ago that said you can judge the strength of a society based on how it treats its women. Have you ever heard that?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I have a loving mother that I adore and all these things. And having you on means a lot. And the work that you're doing for women globally means a lot, and that your entire organization is doing. And I'm thankful to have you on. Thanks so much for the time. And this is your invitation to come back as well. So
I would love it.
All right.
Anytime.
Thanks so much, Celeste, for the time. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening. If you love our podcast, click the download button, rate us, and follow us on social media at HGA Fundraising. Get out there, start fundraising, and raise more money. See you next time.